Hello, everybody. How are you today? I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, wonderful week. Uh, Today, everybody, who says that? We are doing this cute little pin cushion and thread catcher today. So, I um, I know I did say I was going to do the Sue O'Berry Turner things came up, and I will do that later on. I will do it, I promise. They were back ordered, unfortunately, because we did order them in time for them to get here, but not right now. So today is the Quilter's Pin Cushion and Thread Catcher. This is from Pattern Basket um, of what we are making today. So what you need to do, starting out, we're going to start with the pin cushion first. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Liz just reminded me that everybody who is participating during the live show, they have to make a comment. Hopefully, yay, great job, Thomas. That then they get a participation prize.
Right. Okay.
So it is this charm pack, Riley Blake Designs, very cute flower print in the front. So you will get that today on whoever participates. So please make a comment.
Kitty is partaking in some white wine.
Oh, Kitty, you have some white wine? Oh, I had some really nice, it was actually Purple Toad. It is called Cotton Candy. It has an interesting fermentation to it. But
What does that mean?
that means that it doesn't taste like a normal wine.
Does it taste funky?
It's different than a normal
Like a
wine.
texture?
No, texture's the same. Just it tastes different than what you would normally get in a wine.
You know what I had this weekend?
What's that?
Some French 75. Do
Stop.
you like a French 75?
She had French 75 red.
No, white. So, what is gin, lemon juice, simple syrup, and prosecco?
She said that it was gin, lemon juice, prosecco, and simple syrup. That sounds good. I'm gonna have to try that on Sunday.
And I like the gin from Castle and Key.
She likes the gin from Castle and Key.
Which, sorry, Ohio people, you can only get it in Kentucky right now.
You can only get it in Kentucky, but then that means that, you know, they haven't shut down the states. You can come and visit us, you know, 4 at a time in the store. But anyways, again, thank you for coming in today. This is Thomas at Sew A Lot in Lexington, Kentucky. And what you need to do, first thing, is you need to cut 2 of your fabric. So your print fabric.
That's a big thing.
It is. It is. You need to cut 2 pieces that are 8 by 8, and then you need to cut 1 piece that's going to be your bottom here, 7.5 by 7.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to take your 2 print pieces. We're going to put right side down on the first one. We're going to take an 8-inch square batting piece, lay it in there, and then we're going to take the other piece, and you're going to quilt this however you want to. Serpentine stitch and that, but today's purposes, I'm just going to go down and I'm going to basically just do an X.
You use the quilt guide bar.
If you were going to do quilting like with the serpentine stitch, the quilt guide bar is perfect for this, because then you can space it out on there. I thought I put one in this tray. I did not, folks, but I will get one here shortly to show you. So you're going to quilt this sandwich piece how you want to, and then you're going to, after you quilt it, you're going to square it up to 7.5 by 7.5 inches, and so your piece will now look like this. Same thing. Then you're going to take this piece and you're going to take your background piece. I have my tape to mark what pieces are what. Then you're going to take the bottom piece here. You're going to put right sides together. Well, actually, correction. Sorry. The next thing that you're going to do is you have 2 tab pieces that hold your Velcro. So you're going to take a 2.5 by 5 inch strip, fold it right sides together long ways. You are going to So that, now what I highly recommend, okay, so Liz brought me a guide bar, and when I put the guide bar in, I can position. So if I go back to the one quilted piece, if I have a line here, I can now position the guide bar to be, say I want it 2 inches from the other previous stitch line, and then I just keep the guide bar on the line, and then my stitching will be the exact same distance each time that I stitch. And this comes with every PFAFF and Viking machine. And so now I would just repeat that. And if you are doing quilting, just as a friendly reminder, is you want to stitch from the inside and work out. Don't work from the sides and work in. Work from the center out. You want to take this 2.5-inch piece. It does not tell you this in the instructions, but I found it better is if you take this seam here and press it open before you turn it right side out. And
again, it does not tell you to do what?
It does not tell you to press the seam open before you turn it.
Why is that important?
I found it important because when I turned it right side out, it laid flatter. And I didn't have a bulk on there. Even though you're turning this to the opposite side, it just seemed to lay a little bit flatter for me if I press the seam open first. So when you turn them right side out, you're going to put the seam to the back of your piece, fold that piece in half, and get your center point. Then you're going to take your rough pieces of Velcro, and it will tell you to cut these at these are 1-inch wide pieces, and I cut them at 1.5 inches long. This is sew on Velcro. Do not use the Velcro with the glue. And then you're going to go in here, and you're going to sew the Velcro onto the piece.
Linda Grace has a question.
Yes, Linda Grace.
Linda Grace wants to know, is this the same one that she made in class once before?
No, it's slightly different than what you made in class before. The one that you did before, Linda Grace, was an embroidered one by Anita Good Designs. But the pin cushion is close to the same, except for the pin cushion. We're not going to box the corners and make it square. So, Linda Grace was bringing up something is that I had a class a few years ago that was a pin cushion, but it was an Anita Good embroidered block, and then you would box the corner so that it would lay tall and more rectangle. But that's not this one. Then you're going to fold these together, and then you're going to fold your ends back together with your Velcro attached to it. Now, when you attach the Velcro, and I'm looking at the instructions because I want to make sure I tell you exactly correctly, you want to position the Velcro tabs 1 inch from the corner, but you want to make sure unquilted. I want to make sure you want to leave the Velcro. So when you lay your bottom piece right side up, you're going to put your Velcro on the raw edge here, and you want to have right sides down, so when you turn it right side out, it's going to be like this.
There's a question. What is the measurement of you cutting the tabs?
The cutting the tabs was 2.5 by 5 inches. So the tabs were cut 2.5 by 5 inches. You sewed them in half long ways, like down the long side, and then you're going to turn this right side out, and then you're going to fold it in half. And you want to get your Velcro close to your fold, because your fold is going to be, because you want the fold face down. So actually you want your you want your Velcro right side up, so that when it, no, I was right the first time. You want your Velcro right side down. So we want the Velcro facing down on the right side of your bottom piece. And you want to be 1 inch from the edge. Then you want to take your sandwich quilted piece, lay it over the top right sides together. Notice I used the same fabric So I could use either side. But if you were using, you want to make sure that your print side that you're seeing on top of the pin cushion, like this here, you want to make sure that is right sides together with your bottom piece. And when I went in and did this piece, I made sure that on the opening of the, so my tabs are on this side here. And I'm going to put a straight pin there to mark that so my tabs don't move. And we have to leave an opening. So my tabs are on this side, right here where the top of my fingers are at. This is going to be the back side of the pin cushion. I want my opening on the back side because I'm not that great of a whip stitch. So if I don't see it, then I don't feel so bad about it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to leave about a 2-3 inch opening. On this machine, there is a tie-off button that I've talked about before. I'm on the expression 710. I'm going to press the tie-off button. So if I press the instant tie-off, which is this button here, I press that, that icon comes up. I start sewing. It will tie off and then stop. And then I would have to step on the foot pedal again to go forward. If I do the programmable, I'm going to touch this screen here. This icon tells me I want to tie off at the beginning. I want to tie off at the end. And because that, I choose to also have the scissors cut it. So if I'm sewing, it's going to tie off and then continue sewing. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to press my reverse button, which now becomes a dual button. It will tie off at the end of the sequence. And because this is a straight stitch, it will tie off after one stitch. I hit that, ties off, stops, and then cuts.
So the automatic tie-off is available on a lot of models. The programmable tie-off doesn't start until, it might start with some of the Ambitions.
The program, yes, I believe it's on the Ambition 630 is the programmable.
Yes.
Now, if you have a Viking, I said that this was a tie-off button. On the Viking, it is called a fix button. So if you have a Viking,
I unplugged you. I knew I was close. Sorry.
so on the Viking, if you do have a Viking, the Viking refers to it as a fix button. So I'm going to sew completely around and sew with my tabs, and then I am going to turn this right, and so I will get this. What I want to do is I have clipped my corners, and we're going to go in and clip all 4 of the corners. Then we are going to take the pin cushion and turn it right side out. Then the instructions called for polyfill. You're going to take the pin cushion, fill it up with polyfill about halfway, because the top of my pin cushion has the polyfill, and then I'm going to put the polyfill in there and then put my walnut shells in there. Now, if you do not have access to the walnut shells, or maybe Leslie can also order it, you can get those plastic beads that they use for dolls and stuffed animals. So you can use the plastic beads or the crushed walnuts, which we carry the crushed walnuts here, which this one is really nice. This one has the lavender.
Why are the crushed walnuts? Why are they so good?
I
know why. They sharpen your needlepoint.
They sharpen your needlepoint, yes.
That's why the crushed walnuts are still fantastic.
Yeah, the crushed walnuts sharpen your needlepoint. And when you do this, you want to make sure you pack it pretty tight. So make sure you pack it pretty tight, and then you're going to go in and whip stitch the end of your pin cushion. Questions about the pin cushion before we move on to the thread catcher? Okay, so yes, turned it right side out. Use your turner, and then you got your points here. Pull your points out, and then you're going to stuff it with the polyfill. If you do not have a funnel, I recommend a funnel. If you do not have a funnel, neat part is you could take a piece of paper, roll it, like this, possibly. Roll your paper and make a cone, kind of like this. Tape it and then clip the bottom. So you can make your own funnel if you do not have a funnel at your house. I have 3 funnels. I have yet to find them. So I had to make my own funnel when I made this. But
like they're crafting funnels?
I don't know about crafting funnels. I just went to this.
I mean, that's why you have them?
No, I have them because they're for my kitchen. But I very rarely use them. I found that I have bought those funnels and I use them more in the sewing room than I ever have in the kitchen.
Got it.
So that's where I got my funnel, was out of the, it was literally out of the kitchen supply section.
Got it.
And so then your Velcro tabs will be, and then when you turn it right side out, your Velcro tab should be here. I will warn you, if you notice my little boo-boo here, I was just trucking along because the thread matched perfectly with my print fabric, and then I was having a Thomas moment. And that Thomas moment forgot that that orange is not going to show up so well on the red. So please excuse that. And so that, for you, be mindful that if you're switching colors of fabric, like I have red on the inside, but this wonderful, cute flower print, which has pinks and orange, the thread works perfect with this, but not as well with that. So you may want to be mindful of which is which and change your bobbin at least to the thread color of what it's going to be stitching on.
We found out some information. Oh, wait, I have questions. What are the Velcro tabs for?
The Velcro tabs are to hold the thread catcher.
So if you want to remove it?
So if you want to remove it, they Velcro off. So if you want to remove it, and then you could just take your thread catcher, dump it in the trash. It also, because a lot of us go to Guild and stuff like that, maybe you want to take it, pack it in there, and then put it in your bag, and then it's all together. It's just so that you can have an accessible. Now, if you don't like the Velcro idea, you can go attach buttons and put a buttonhole through these, and then put a button on it if you want to have like a cute button front. So you could put buttons on instead of, and then you could put them on at the end, but you could put them on instead of the Velcro if you're not a big fan of Velcro.
We did just do some research and find out that the quilt guide bar does not start in the machines until the middle ambition.
So the quilt guide bar does not start until you get to the ambition.
It wasn't in the essential.
It wasn't in the essential, but it
Didn't
is.
start until ambition 1.
So it's if you have an older ambition FAFF, it started in the ambition 1.0, but it was not in the ambition essential. We do sell additional guide bars at the store, so if you want to get one, because the foot has the attachment to be able to have the guide.
And I haven't looked, but I would guess then that probably the Vikings don't start until the opals. But that's a guess.
Not for sure, but it may be the opals before the guide bar starts in the Viking. But yet again, we do sell the guide bars. That it would be an additional purchase.
Right.
If you're going to do quilting, it's very handy. So next we are going to do our thread catcher. All right. So the thread catcher, you're going to take 2 pieces of fabric. Here I have the orange is going to be, look, see, thread catcher. Put garbage, yay. I don't know if you saw that.
Marcia says you could also use the multi-line decorative guide foot.
Oh, there is the multi-line decorative guide foot, which I also have that foot at home too. What we want to do is, on this here, there's 2 forms of the thread catcher. The thread catcher that I did here is the one that takes, it's option B, which takes 2 different fabrics because I wanted a different fabric for the lining. If you wanted one matte fabric, they have instructions on how to do the one fabric. I wanted 2. So today's demo is over 2 fabrics. I am going to put the fabrics right sides together, and down one side of the long seam, I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch. Say hi to Liz.
So this is what the multi-line guide foot looks like. This is the Viking, but it's available in PFAFF. There's also an adjustable guide foot. It won't go as wide, but it does give you some width if you wanted to adjust. The little thing just slides back and forth.
So I'm doing my. I am doing a 1/4 inch seam. The measurement on the thread catcher, when you first initially start it with the 2 coordinating fabrics, you need a piece that is 23 inches by, one piece that's 23 inches by 13. The inside fabric is 23 by 13.
You would need more than
You need a 1/2 yard. If you have wide, big print where you want to fussy cut, you need 3/4 of a yard. If you do not have big print, a 1/2 yard of this, and then a 1/2 yard of coordinating fabric. You're going to have your seam here. Press the seam open. It does help to fold over if we press the seam open. And I know some of the ladies get mad at me when I make them do this because, so we want to press this open all along there. We are going to take our piece and take our batting. We take one piece of batting that is cut 23 by 13. And we are going to sandwich it into the piece of fabric, fold it over.
Kathy is late to the game. She wants to know if there's a pattern for this.
Oh, somebody was late coming in. So the pattern for this, again, for Kathy who just showed up, is the Quilter's pin cushion and thread catcher. But from Pattern Basket.
Vicky Waldron wants to see the first foot again. Is that the one she wants to see?
Okay, the first foot, which is the multi-line foot. Yes, it says Husqvarna Viking, but PFAFF also has one too. And you have the lines here, and you can use the lines to distance between decorative stitches.
That she wanted.
If you don't want that one, this one here, because a lot of your decorative stitches do not use the IDT. This does not use the IDT.
Well, that's the Viking one. That's why.
Well, no, the PFAFF is the same way.
Oh.
Because most of those are decorative stitches that don't use the IDT. If you're using a stitch that needs the IDT, and that's what you're quilting, they also have this adjustable guide foot. So this is nice too for the PFAFF because it will go from right to left. So that's another nice option.
Vicky needs that, she said.
Now I have folded this in half. I'm going to give my seam a nice press here, and you also want to, and I love this cordless iron because I can go in any hand, and look, the cord's not in my way. That is so wonderful. That means it's not in my way. I don't trip over it, and my dogs don't trip over it.
Or
I have-
me, I don't trip over it.
Or other people. But if you were in my house, the dogs trip over it. I have lost more than one iron because of that.
Is that a foot? Those two pressers? Yes.
Yes, those two are presser feet. So after I have my piece of fabric pressed, I'm going to go in and quilt it. If you're just doing straight lines, I do recommend marking a stitch. Marking your line so that you can stay on it. And then you're going to quilt all the way across. So you can quilt however you want. You can do straight lines across, you could do crosshatch, you could do diagonal. There's several different ways that you can quilt this. After you get it quilted, then you're going to square it up. When you square it up, you need to have it squared up so that it will look like this. Now, when you square it up, I have a fold at the top, and I did not clip the threads on there. Sorry, Barb. Sorry, Barb. You will have the fold at the top. So when you square this up, you are going to square this up to, it's going to be squared up to 11.5 by 21.5. Again, 11.5 by 21.5.
What is that mat you're ironing on?
This mat is OmniGrid. It has a pressing side and a cutting side.
And it comes in different sizes.
and it comes in different sizes. It's a nice little travel one. But
Show
when
how it closes.
so this closes, so we got here, it closes up, and then there, and then you can put it, it fits in your bag nicely. And because it's like this,
Just don't accidentally lay your iron on the cutting board side.
don't lay your iron on the cutting board side, and don't cut on the ironing side. That's the only thing you've got to be mindful for, is which side is which and what to use for, because it's both sides. But with the fold here, you want to make sure you cut the 11 inches from the raw edge side, not your fold side, because the fold is going to be the top of your basket. So make sure you do not trim that away. And I have a question. No, you can quilt it however you want to. The reason why they did not put the batting on top of it and then put the other fabric on there and sandwich it and sew it is because then you're going to end up with 2 layers of batting in the seam, and then the top of your bag will be thicker. That's the main reason why I believe that the author left the batting out of sewing it into the actual seam, because it would have bulked up at the top, because it would have folded over on itself and you would have had double the thickness of batting. Now, this is one thing I hadn't done, but what I could do, what I thought about doing to make it easier if I didn't want to quilt it, instead of batting, fusible fleece. Just leave a 1/4 inch for your seam allowance. So, as I showed you that, the next part is now we're going to make 2 things. We are going to make our pockets, and we are going to make inside the bag, I have a seam that covers up a raw edge so you don't see it. So we need to make that. So we're going to take a strip that is 13 inches by 2.5 inches. We are going to fold it right sides together and sew down the long edge. And we're going to do that just like we did our tabs. Then you're going to turn it right side out, and your tab, and then you're going to put your seam to the thing, and your tab will look like this. This covers the raw edge on the inside. So this is what that will look like. Again, to do that, you're going to take your fabric, put sides together, sew down the long edge of the raw edge of that, turn it right side out. Well, again, before you turn it right side out, press the seam open, then turn it right side out, and press it flat with your seam to the center. So it's hard to see, but my seam line is right here on the center. We are now going to make a pocket for the front. So the front of our thread bag has a pocket here.
What is that for?
The pocket here could be, say that you want to put your turner in here, or a measuring tool, like one of the small rulers, you could put those in there, or it's just a pocket for stuff that you're going to need right at your pin cushion, because maybe you want a measuring tape in there. So it's a pocket, and if you don't want a pocket, then leave the pocket off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-inch by 5-inch square, and yes, this was numbered for me.
Good thing you have that trash can.
I have the trash can here now to put my trash in. We are going to take, and we're going to press.
Needles. You can put needles in the pocket.
You can put needles in the pocket.
Or trash needles in the pocket.
Yeah, or trash needles, because you don't want to stick your hand in the waste packet and grab a needle. That would be painful. And so then I'm going to fold my fabric over on one side and then the opposite side, and sew and fold over a 1/4 inch and press. And then I am going to fold the other 2 sides over a 1/4 inch and press. Now, one of these 2 sides that you just pressed, you want to take this over to your machine, and you want to do a top stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And again, make sure you're using thread that matches. So I did a top stitch across there. Then I'm going to take my piece that I had here. Here's my top piece here. I'm going to fold this in half, which would be, and find my center point. So I'm going to do a finger crease there, find my center point, and then I'm going to take my pocket, find the center point, and then I'm going to place this and line up the center point, and then place this an inch from the top. Once you place it from an inch from the top, pin it in place. And you are going to do 1/8 of an inch top seam around. Now, this is a pocket. So you want to make sure that because it's a pocket, you want to definitely back stitch on the pocket at the both ends of the top. So you want to back stitch or tie off on the top of the pocket there. And then you're going to stitch all the way around, and when you get, but don't stitch across the top of the pocket. We need to be able to put something in, because if you do, either you have to take it out or you just made a patch for your thread catcher. So once you get the pocket pieced together, you are going to take this and fold it right sides together. So my pocket is on the inside. We're going to fold, my pocket sits on the outside of my thread catcher. So that's the right side of my bag. I want to fold right sides together, and down this side, I want to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I have now sewn the 1/4 inch seam allowance. I want to come in here and I want to press the seam open again. The reason why you want to press the seam open is because you don't want all the bulk to one side. You want to evenly distribute it. And so I'm going to press this seam open. So now my seam is pressed open. I am going to take a piece of fabric. The fabric I'm going to show you will not be the same color, but you're going to take that piece of fabric, that long fabric that I showed you that looked like the green piece, and I just had it, ladies, and it's, well, there it is, right in front of me. Wow. So where I have the seam here, and we have the raw edge, I am going to line this up here, the raw edge together, and I'm going to center this seam that's on the inside of my bag, and I'm going to place this over that. You're going to pin that in place.
Vicki Smith wants to know the name of the iron and the price.
Okay, the iron is, this here is the Panasonic Freestyle 360 cordless. Its fame is that this iron does wonderful on, you got 360 turn here. It doesn't matter how you hold it, you can turn it, and it goes into curves. So if you're pressing like a shirt right where your sleeves are at, it does wonderful to get in there with the sleeves. Again, I rave about this iron because I have lost too many irons by tripping over the cord or the cord's getting in my way. I can literally position, the base mount how I want to, get the cord positioned where it's completely out of my way because I don't plan on moving this. I just want to move the iron. So I could put the iron wherever I want, and I could put this wherever. I've even had it in some circumstances, because I move too much, is I have actually put this on a shelf above the ironing board, had the cord just go straight down to the plug-in, and then just pick this up, and this was out of my way. I can position this wherever I want to. I find the iron very handy. And
You still have cordless 360.
I will come back to questions. Liz is looking up some stuff. So I have now pinned this. I really want you ladies to watch this. This is actually, you're going to look at this and say, how do I sew this? Because we're sewing long ways. Take your tray off like this. I have this opening. I am going to take this piece and I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Make sure that your bottom piece does not get folded underneath. I am going to sew that 1/8 of an inch from the edge and remove my pins as I go. And I tried to do this without pinning it, and I got it really wonky. So pinning it is really wonderful because it helps keeps it centered where it needs to be. When you get about halfway up the bag, it starts getting really bulky. Take the bag now and turn right side out. So I have now turned the bag right side out. And then I'm going to finish stitching to the edge, which will be to the top of the bag. And when I get to the top of the bag, I am just going to stop with my needle down or turn my hand wheel for the needle down. I'm going to pivot so straight across the top. Then I'm going to pivot again, flatten out my fabric, and finish that stitch. For me, turning it this way was the easiest way for me to get this strip on. Sorry, I was talking while I was sewing, and I know that does not work.
Okay, we have lots of iron questions.
Okay, so I have more questions before I go to the next step.
Barb Heflin says, I guess I need to take mine out of the box.
Somebody just said they need to take theirs out of the box. Yes, you get a lot of use out of it if it's out of the box.
A lot of people seem to have it who have bought it from us and think it's amazing. But irons are in stock. They're not in stock because they just redid them. Panasonic just came out with they changed them a little bit.
So right now they're not in stock, but
them.
we can order
They
them.
come in-
It's because Panasonic has changed
The
design slightly.
But it comes in, the 360 ceramic one comes in black, blue, rose gold, teal.
It comes in the colors of black, blue, rose gold,
Red,
teal,
champagne.
red, champagne.
And they retail for $145.
And the retail price is $145. So your bag is, I'm going to turn this right side in, wrong side out again.
One more thing. Could you make the fabric a bit longer and do a French seam instead?
Yes, if you want to do a French seam, you can. It's just that the French seam will then put a bulk here. If you do this, then it's flat. So yes, I thought about doing the French seam too, but then I was like, well, then I'm going to have that channel basically on the back, but I won't see the raw edge. So I did like this method like this. So what you do is you take this here, fold it over a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and then fold this down over like this. So this is what the inside of the bag will look like. And for sewing purposes, I'm going to turn right side out. And you can see my tab there. I am going to sew around the tab. And if you notice on this machine, I stopped with the needle down so I don't have to constantly raise the presser foot. It pivots nicely. And so some of your bigger machines do have that needle down option with the automatic presser foot lift.
Wait, you're done sewing now.
Oh wait, I could do it again. Okay, so what this is going to show is if I'm here sewing, I'm going to start sewing. And when I get to the end, I'm going to stop. This presser foot lift 1/8 of an inch. So now I can pivot without raising anything. Start sewing until I get to the other end. Pivot again. And then start sewing some more. It will stop. Give me that automatic presser foot lift. Pivot one more time. And then stop there. And then you could do a tie off. And then you can cut. I just went over that twice because now it's fully reinforced. Wonderful. So, now your bag looks like this. What we need to do is, this is my right side. I need to turn it back to wrong side out. And if you would find your crease, if you can't find the crease, find your center point again on the bag. And then you're going to center the bag and you're going to sew across the bottom 1/4 inch. And if anybody has ever done like a bag or something like that, we're going to box the corners. So because I'm boxing the corners, I don't need to tie off at the beginning and I don't need to tie off at the end. The pattern doesn't call for it, but honestly at this point, ladies, the inside of the bag has the raw seams on it. This is where it would be nice to come in and do a nice zigzag across the bottom.
If you had a serger.
Or if you had a serger, I would serge the bottom. It would just make this look nicer, even though it's inside the bag and you don't see it.
Plus, then you wouldn't have the unraveling.
And then I want to unravel because maybe one of your kids or grandkids or significant other might throw a pop in there and you have to wash it.
Ew.
So
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
A half a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Or half of a sandwich, yes.
It's a trash can.
It's a trash can, so they'll throw food in there.
I can see my children doing that.
So if we've done this, if we take this here and kind of finger press, or we could take a marking pencil, we can mark where our center fold is here and where it is here. Because what we need to do is we are going to take this and box it. So we're going to turn it like this, lay that flat, and I can feel my seam on, and I will feel for the seam right there. Then I'm going to take my point, I'm going to pin this so that it doesn't move on me, and I'm going to take my ruler that fell on the floor. I am going to measure 2 inches from the point. And I am going to draw a line across here. And I'm going to sew a seam across this line. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So what your bag will then look like is, with it sewn, it will look like this.
Nice little ears.
It will have little ears. So once you've sewn across it, you will then come to your, again, watch your cutting mat, cut on the right side.
Make sure it's
Because I almost cut on the wrong side right at that moment.
it's right there.
Rotary blade. You want to come in about a 1/4 inch away. And if you don't trust doing it free-handed, then you can still place the ruler there so that you don't accidentally whack part of it off that you don't want to. So now, the inside the bag will look like this. And you can see here where, yes, this would be perfect. Before you do the corners, do a serger or a zigzag here. And then when you clip the corners, come in and do the same thing here. It just makes it look neater. We're going to take it, turn it right side out. And what you'll do, so there's the outside. There's what your thread catcher bag looks like. You're going to take your pin cushion that's finished with the little tabs, and you're going to mark where they will sit on your bag. So I'm going to take my pencil, make a mark on both sides of where my tab would sit. Then I'm going to take my soft side elastic, place it where I made the marks. So it's going to look like this. I did say elastic. Sorry, I meant Velcro. I did say elastic. I'm going to put the Velcro here. I cut like...
I'm glad Patty was listening, because I wasn't.
Thank you, Patty.
Got you back.
So then I'm going to do the same thing as I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch. And again, you will want to watch your matching thread.
I think the button would be cuter.
I'm going to have to go with Liz. I think the button idea would be much cuter, and I didn't think about it until afterwards, or I would have put a button on there to show you ladies.
You could do a covered button. I love covered buttons.
Oh, do a covered button out of the fabric.
Out of the coordinating.
And
Snazzy.
then there's your elastic. Now your
It's
thread.
still Velcro. It's still Velcro.
Velcro. Wow, I'm doing great today, aren't I? Thank you for helping me. I need all the help I can get. So your Velcro is attached, and then all you have to do is take
And stick it.
and then attach your Velcro with the
Or
tabs.
snaps. Snaps would be cute.
Snaps would be cute too. And you can place that on there. It's not magnetic. And actually, with the weight of this, it doesn't slide, because I thought about, do I need gripper stuff on the bottom? No. I haven't had it slide. So with there's
trash. Have you put it in the trash receptacle? Oh my! Is it still hot?
it will be.
Oh, my.
Okay, it won't hold that.
Now you're gonna catch it on fire.
I'm not going to catch it on fire. It's cotton. 100% in cotton batting, 100%
How long
cotton.
does it have to sit in there? I don't know.
I wasn't going to leave it in there that long. But ladies, I thought the pin cushion and thread catcher, and everybody can use these if they
I like
sew.
that it's a big catcher.
I like the big catcher.
Because your embroidered one you made, the catcher was not that big.
It was not. The catcher was only like, the opening was like this, and it's more awkward because if you're throwing your thread, it catches more of the thread. And my thread catcher that this is now going to replace at home is this one. I could throw more stuff in there, because I will actually throw empty spools of thread in here when at home, or if I'm opening a new spool of thread, I'm taking it off, I throw everything in there.
What was the pattern again?
Okay, the pattern is the Quilter's pin cushion and thread catcher. And there was an option in here where you could do scissor holder here. I did not do the scissor holder because I'm the one that would accidentally get the scissors and drop it in the bag and then throw it all away. So I'm one of those people that it wasn't functional for me, but it does give you the option to do a scissor holder.
And you would totally cry if you threw away a pair
I
of
would
scissors.
cry if I threw away scissors, because if anybody knows me or seen me at events, I carry my little box with me, and I have at least at all times anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs of scissors.
I can think 1,000 uses to use for it on my teacher's desk at school.
Oh, somebody said that they could use it at school on the teacher's desk. That's not a bad idea. And then you can get whatever you print you want here. You can fussy cut the print, and then you can quilt whatever you want. So if you've done the westerly rulers, you could use a solid fabric and completely quilt with the ruler with a bold thread, and actually then have the look of the quilted look as opposed to just the fabric. So you can go either direction with it. You can use the fabric as your main focal, or quilting aspect as your main focal.
Pencils, erasers, stamps, stickers.
She was just saying, somebody said pencils, erasers, stamps, stickers, they
So
could
it'd be
all
a
go in there.
great teacher gift.
Great teacher gift, sewing gift. I mean, anybody, I mean, even if they're at the office, you know. But that was my thread catcher. So there was a little bit more in detail today with this. I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did. So do I have more questions? Did I answer all the questions that I needed to about the iron, or any additional feet, or
What is that foot? Which foot?
the foot I'm
Oh
using?
wait, that's an old question. Sorry.
Donald Lunsford won this. All right.
Donald, we haven't seen you in so
Congratulations,
long.
Donald. And yes, I haven't seen you for a while.
Come to the store and pick it up at your
You
convenience.
come to the store, pick it up. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if what I showed here today, we sell in the store. If we don't have it in the store, we will be more than happy. Pay for it. We will order it in for you. We are still doing curbside. So if you are not, if you do not feel comfortable about coming into either one of the stores, just call, tell them you're out in the parking lot, and we can do curbside. We will be more than happy to do that. So Donald, if you don't want to come into the store, just call when you get here and we can bring it out to you. I hope everybody is wonderful. I really enjoyed today, and you guys take care, and I will see you next Friday. All right, bye.